It's important to remember that proper handling of the HV components is necessary for your personal safety and the structural integrity of the equipment. The following are some important equipment care guidelines. Never drop the HV equipment. Remove damaged equipment from service for inspection by Titan. Remove excess concrete buildup from main beams when required. Never strike aluminum HV framing members and/or post shores with a hammer or stripping bar. Do not remove pins from post shores while shores are in a vertical position. The barellas will make your job easier and protect the HV equipment when not in use. When working with the carts, always adhere to the following. Do not use barellas for purposes other than handling and transporting Titan HV equipment. Use of barella carts as mobile scaffolds and/or personal platforms is strictly prohibited. Barellas with wheels are designed to be pushed by hand. Using machinery to push or pull the carts can damage equipment. Only barellas of 5.7 and 3.9 aluminum beams can be stacked, so as not to exceed the 2,500-pound wheel capacity. By following the safety guidelines mentioned here and in the technical manual, or downloaded from our website, you can be certain that your Titan HV experience will be a positive one. Let's review the components that make up the Titan HV shoring system. Primarily, you'll be working with lightweight aluminum beams, drop heads, and shores. There are two types of beams, main beams and secondary beams. The typical main and secondary beams are 5 foot 7 inches long and can easily accommodate any installation requirement. Filler conditions can also be handled with the 3 foot 9 inch beams. Cantilevered walkway conditions can be achieved with the 11 foot 6 inch main beam. Both the main and secondary beams are made of lightweight aluminum and designed for easy, safe, and fast handling. Wood nailers are included in all members. The Titan HV drophead component is a major piece of the system, simplifying the stripping process and allowing the early release of the framing members. It's a hot-dipped galvanized component, arriving on your job securely fastened to the post shore. No assembly required. The quick-release disc wedge allows for easy stripping even in tight quarters. Titan HV shores are made of durable telescoping steel. They can support slabs in excess of 12 inches and a height range of 7 feet to 18 feet 10 inches. There are several Titan HV accessories with which you should be familiar. Tripods stabilize the system during the initial set without the use of additional manpower. Wedge clamps are used to secure bracing to the post shores once a small area of framing has been erected. Safety catches and positioners are typically required at perimeter conditions. Guardrail posts attach easily to the end of main beams, providing a simple and safe means of supporting guardrails where fall protection is required. T-hangers are used to hang drop panel or shallow beam framing, reducing the need for additional post shores and simplifying grading. Finally, the barellas are stackable storage carts for main beams, secondary beams, and post shores. When the equipment arrives at your job site, you will need to verify quantities shipped. Titan strongly recommends taking pictures of both sides of every trailer load, preferably before the straps are removed. In the unlikely event of a discrepancy, notify the Titan office immediately. It is recommended that the equipment be unloaded from the truck and placed directly in the new work area, as opposed to a staging area to avoid double handling. Once the equipment is located in the new work area, barellas should be stacked as follows to ensure efficiency. Main beams and secondary beams should be paired up in stacks. Avoid stacking a third barella because it will exceed the 2,500-pound wheel capacity and create an unstable barella configuration once the wheels are installed. Post shores and 11/6 main beams should be separated into single barella stacks. Install 2 fixed wheels at one end of each stack, followed by 2 swivel wheels at the other end of the stack, and ensure that all fasteners are completely engaged. Due to the lightweight nature of the materials and ease of installation, installing the Titan HV system is a 2-person job. 2 workers should be able to install 3,000 to 5,000 square feet per day of Titan framing, excluding plywood. If additional output is required, you'll want to consider implementing an additional crew. Like most activities, a little time spent in preparation will make the job go more smoothly. It's a good idea to clear the floor of any debris so the barellas and equipment can easily move to where they're needed. Spend some time studying the technical drawings provided by Titan. These color-coded CAD drawings were prepared specifically for your project by an experienced HV technician and will pinpoint the best place to begin installing the equipment. Locate the predetermined starting point in the work area and snap perpendicular lines in both directions from this point in the shape of a T or an L. Place 6 tripods along the perpendicular starting line, beginning at the start point, and then placed at approximately 6-foot intervals, ensuring that the tripod legs are evenly spaced. Move a barella of post shores into the work area and set up a simple sizing bench with the use of 2 U-heads commonly found on most job sites. Adjust the shore to the required height while in a horizontal position by locating the nearest pinhole location. Utilize the adjustment collar for fine grading. Be sure not to overextend the screw adjustment collar. The threads should not be visible. The drop head ledger should be in the up position. Then, using a hammer, engage the disc wedge with a single blow. Begin installing the post shores securely into the tripods, ensuring that the drop head is oriented with the tall lip in the direction of the main beams and the pin is fully engaged. Move a barella of aluminum beams into the work area and hang a secondary beam from drop head to drop head between each of the erected post shores to ensure proper spacing of the system. Next, carefully hang the first 6 main beams from the erected post shores and allow them to rest in the 45-degree position. Prepare additional post shores and catch the hanging main beams with the tall lip of the drop head ledger and walk the shore to an upright position. Repeat this procedure for the remaining main beams. Install a secondary beam near the end of each freestanding main beam to lock the system together. An additional tripod can now be added perpendicular to the starting line for added stability. Fill in the remaining secondary beams in accordance with the drawings. Simply repeat this process 4 or 5 more times until a 30-foot square area of framing is complete. Pinch columns and walls with framing members to ensure adequate plywood support. As you can see, framing interruptions created by columns, walls, beams, or drop panels can be achieved simply by changing the direction of the main and secondary beams. This eliminates the need for multiple length members. Titan's main beam is specifically designed to support a 4x4, which can be substituted for secondary beams where standard framing doesn't work. Simply follow the guidelines outlined on the shop drawings to ensure full bearing. Duplex nails must also be used to prevent the 4x4 from dislodging. Now that we've created a box with 3 shores in each direction, 2x4 X bracing can be installed to provide better lateral restraint. Titan HV wedge clamps were designed specifically for this purpose. Before installing X braces, check the plumbness of the post shores. As you can see, the wedge clamp is a U-shaped device with a sliding wedge attached to one side. To attach X bracing to the shoring, a 2x4 is held in place diagonally across 3 shores while the wedge clamp is installed. The U part of the clamp should be placed around the shore. The wedge is then fitted around the 2x4 and driven into place with a hammer until sufficiently tight. Ensure that the wedge runs parallel to the face of the 2x4. This process should be repeated at the 4 corners of the X and once at the center shore. The second X brace should be installed 90 degrees to the first. This will provide a rigid and stable area from which the work can progress. Additional framing and shoring may now be added to the area that has been X-braced. Titan HV can easily accommodate two-way slopes and camber due to its simple span design. Titan HV should not be used to shore decks sloping more than 6%. When shoring to or from a sloped surface, additional cross braces must be installed to ensure that the framing is stable. Wedges should be installed under the base plate if needed to gain adequate bearing when shoring from a sloped surface. Here are some tips to help you successfully use the system. Organize yourself to ensure the barella carts are close to the work area and the floors are clear of debris. Review the drawings carefully to ensure proper installation. Return the accessories to the barella baskets when not in use. Maintain a small crew to ensure maximum productivity. Set daily production goals. When framing decks over 10 feet, utilize a scissor lift. Finally, before a pour is made, ensure that the framing is installed in accordance with the shop drawings. Post shores are plumb, and pins and disc wedges are fully engaged, and safety catches are installed where required. One of the many advantages to using the Titan HV system is how quickly materials can be cycled when using the quick-release drop head feature. The system is designed to permit the removal of framing beams and some form-facing material without loosening or disturbing the shores and supports. Review the form removal information, which can be found in the training manual or downloaded from our website. Remember, post shores must remain undisturbed until a stripping release is obtained. Just as during the installation process, removal of the Titan HV will go much more quickly if you first take a little time to prepare. Have your barellas nearby and the area clear of debris so that you can move about more easily. Strip the aluminum beams and place them into double-stacked barellas. You can eliminate double handling of the main and secondary beams by never allowing them to be placed on the floor during stripping operations. They should always go directly into the barellas. Before beginning to remove the aluminum framing, it is best to remove all unneeded X-bracing and lacing. This can generally be done soon after the concrete has achieved its final set. This material should be stacked and removed from the area to allow free barella access to the stripping area. It is advisable to leave X-bracing and lacing in place at outside corners of the building until after the framing beams are removed. Begin the removal process by releasing the drop head with a hammer stroke. Ensure that the framing beams have completely separated from the plywood sheeting. Remove secondary beams and stack them in the bottom barellas. Now do the same with the main beams and stack them in the top barellas. By grouping the main and secondary beams, both primary framing members will be readily available when the equipment is moved to the next area to be installed. Always remove unrestrained plywood immediately following beam removal to avoid a falling material accident. Demonstrate good plywood removal techniques by removing plywood sheets to a platform, avoiding a dangerous free-fall condition, which can also damage plywood sheeting. Cantilevers require the use of special equipment and special safety precautions. Perimeter walkways and cantilevered situations are typically accommodated with an 11/6 main beam, a safety catch, and positioners. The safety catch will attach the main beam to an interior post shore to restrict the uplift created when a workman is installing guardrails and edge forms beyond the edge of slab. When 11/6 main beams are used to provide a perimeter walkway, it is advisable to minimize the length of the cantilever outside the edge of the concrete. This will make stripping easier and discourage the accumulation of other equipment or debris on the walkway. When framing a cantilever, it is necessary to install post shores directly under the main beam, without the positive connection normally provided by our drop head. The HV positioner allows us to easily create a positive connection between the post shore and the main beam. A positioner is a T-bolt device that easily fits into the track at the bottom of each HV beam. Place one wherever you need an intermediate support and hand tighten it into place. Slide a post shore with or without a drop head over the positioner and tighten the shore with the adjustment collar. The positioner will keep the shore securely in place and prevent the shore from walking out. Once the deck is poured and a stripping release is obtained, you can begin removing the cantilevered portions of the framing. First, perimeter protection should be installed at the deck above to ensure an unsafe condition is not created once the guardrail and walkway platforms are removed. The guardrails, loose sheeting, and supporting secondary beams can now be removed from the top by a workman who is properly tied off. All redundant shores can now be removed from below and relocated as necessary to support the remaining plywood sheeting. Loosen the safety catch and lower the 11/6 main beam with the outside supplemental shore to separate the aluminum beams from the plywood. Remove the secondary beams and place them into the barellas as you did with the interior framing. Once all the adjacent secondary beams are removed from the main beam, stabilize the supporting post shore and remove the 11/6 main beam. Repeat these steps several times to clear a section of perimeter framing. Removal of the plywood support can now be done once you're in position to safely strip the plywood sheeting. Special safety considerations when working with cantilevers are as follows. Always use post shores with positioners under beams to ensure concentric loading and post shore stability. Use safety catches in all possible uplift conditions, and be sure to install sufficient safety catches prior to loading cantilevered members. Never load a cantilevered 11/6 main beam cantilever prior to installing all secondary beams, post shores, positioners, safety catches, cross bracing, lacing, and adjacent plywood. Avoid cantilevering 5/7 or 3/9 main beams except where shown on drawings. Never load a walkway beyond its design capacity of 50 psf. Materials and/or equipment should never be stored on cantilevered framing. Adequate X-bracing must be installed to stabilize cantilevered conditions. Instruct all personnel, including other trades, to stay off cantilevered conditions until installation and fall protection is complete. Ensure workmen are properly tied off when installing and removing guardrail systems. Obtain a stripping release before removing cantilevered framing. Stabilize outside shore before removing cantilevered main beam. Post shores and all remaining plywood can be recovered once a stripping release is obtained. Be aware that post shores may loosen during post-tension operations. Check and secure post shores as required to eliminate fall hazards. You'll want to follow the same picture-taking procedure when returning equipment, just as you did upon its arrival. Refer to your technical manual and follow the Titan HV bundling standards, or download them from our website. And when you're ready to load the equipment, adhere to the following shipment stacking standards. Pay particular attention to the banding requirement of each barella to ensure safe transport. Stack the aluminum beams no more than 3 barellas high, except in the case of 11/6 main beams, which should be 2 high. Stack the shores 2 high. Avoid placing barellas of secondary beams at the end of the trailer. The secondary beams may vibrate out of the barellas in transit if the banding is not sufficiently tight. You should provide a completed packing list and bill of lading for all return shipments. Blank bill of ladings can be found in the back pocket of your Titan HV training manual or can be downloaded from our website. To minimize freight costs, Titan recommends using a 48-foot trailer with split axle. This configuration can typically accommodate a balanced load of 46,000 pounds, subject to the truck driver's approval. Titan HV equipment should not be transferred between projects without Titan's prior approval. Titan discourages transferring equipment from job to job due to the possibility of accounting and quality control issues. The Titan name stands not only for quality materials, but also for the skilled professionals dedicated to ensuring the success of your project. From monitoring job site progress, to ensuring timely deliveries, to troubleshooting job site conditions and changes, Titan professionals are available when and where you need them. By following the steps outlined in this video and in the technical manual, you'll be amazed how quickly you master the installation and stripping process. Plus, the lightweight, easy-to-handle Titan HV components mean fewer lifting injuries and a safer job site for everyone. We're constantly looking for ways to improve our service to you and depend on your feedback. Contact your local sales representative or go to www.titanformwork.com and drop us an email. Here, you'll learn even more about the Titan HV shoring system and see other projects currently under construction from around the country. Our goal is equipping builders to succeed. On behalf of all the Titan employees, thank you for using the Titan HV shoring system.